This happened about 2 weeks ago while I was walking from my building to my aunt's at work. The city I'm in is a medium-sized one. I don't have a very long walk to her building, but it's still a good 2 blocks away. A bit of background on myself. I'm a transgender guy, female to male, who passes rather well for someone who is not on hormones. However, due to not being out to my family, I often wear women's jackets and neutral clothing, which can be a bit confusing for some people. That day, I had chosen to wear a purple jacket and a matching hat, and from a distance, I could be mistaken for a female since the hood was up. Back to the creepy part now. I was walking alone, like usual, when I heard footsteps racing up towards me from behind, which is unusual. There really wasn't anyone else walking outside at this hour, but naive me thought someone was late to class since my work is part of a college campus. I shrug it off until I feel someone grab my shoulder and turn me around. A very large man was there, and there was a truck nearby. He seemed surprised to see me, though, and immediately let me go once he got a good look at my face. He ran to his truck, and someone drove him away, and I ran the rest of the way to my aunt's office. Later that evening, the same man was on the news for an attempted abduction of a younger girl in that area, just a few blocks away from where he grabbed me. So when I was little, I was obsessed with ballet. I took classes and had leotards of every different color. We had a pageant once where we were old McDonald's characters, so ever since then, depending on the color of the leotard, I was a different animal. I was 4, I think. I was wearing my black leotard in the front yard while my dad worked on his car. I remember this day so vividly. Since I was in my black leotard, I was playing the role of the cricket, so I had to set hula hoops all over the front yard, and I was jumping from them like a cricket. I remember seeing the same car pass several times. I remember thinking it was funny seeing an old man driving a car. Finally, I reached the hula hoop closest to the street, and the old man stops driving. He gets out of the car, presumably not seeing my dad under the hood of his truck, and asks me if I can come look at his map and tell him where to go. I can remember that the danger did not register to me at the time. All I can remember thinking is I can't read a map. So I yell at my dad, "Daddy, this old man is lost." As soon as I yell to my dad, the old man hauls ass to his car and drives away. My dad calls the cops, and they come and ask me what I saw. I tell them the old man was asking for directions, and asked me to go to his car and look at his map. I guess I was too young to register stranger danger, but I thank goodness I was too smart to get in the old man's car. Sometimes I still wonder what he would have done with me. Why on earth would you ask a small child for directions? This all happened to me when I was 13 years old. I would also like to specify that I'm a female. I live alone with just my father, who works from 6 a.m. to about 4 p.m., which meant I had to walk to the bus stop myself. 6th grade was the first time I rode the bus, and nothing wrong happened. This was the very end of my 7th grade year, so I suspected nothing. My bus stop at the time was less than a block away. My neighborhood is 5 streets that run east to west, and all connected by a street that runs north to south. My street is the one furthest left, so behind my house is the main road that connects to a highway. If I walk about 5 houses up, I'll be able to get to the street that runs north to south, and the house across the street was where the bus met. Anyway, so it was another normal day, very warm. I was wearing shorts. I am only 5'3", fully grown, so at age 13, I was much smaller. I probably seemed like a very good target. So I left my house, and of course, there was a truck parked about 2 houses away from mine, on the side of the street. I thought nothing of it. As I started walking towards my bus stop, it slowly followed me. The dude didn't even start his car, so I assumed it was already on. So I assumed he wanted to go to the main road, which is why he was following me. At the edge of the street, I stopped, hoping he'd pass. He just waited there. So I crossed the street myself, assuming he was going the other way. When I got to the stop, he rolled down his window. I don't remember his face all that much, but he was balding, sort of gray, and had glasses. The stereotypical creep glasses. I remember he had an older green truck. It looked like it was from the 90s or early 2000s. I'm not an expert in trucks at all. He calmly asked me if I wanted to get in his car. I replied, "Excuse me?" At this point, my heart was beating a mile a minute. Like I mentioned, I was a very small 13-year-old. If he wanted to grab me, I'd have a very slim chance of escaping. He then asked again, more urgent and kind of annoyed. This was likely the age where kids were starting to get phones much earlier on, so I had my phone on me. I held it up and replied, "No, I do not want to ride. Please go away." He looked at me, kind of nervous, and then quickly drove away. I was so scared. When he was out of sight, I started to sob. I called my father the second I was able to and told him everything. He ended up picking me up from school when I got there and made me file a report, which is not only with the school, but the police. I felt very unhelpful because I couldn't remember much of his face, and I didn't even dare look at his license plate. After this, I was required to get a ride from my neighbor until I entered high school. Creepy guy who followed me to the bus. I hope we never meet again. I certainly do hope you enjoyed. And remember, we're always watching.